Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. My name is Jeff Pearson. I'm your host, and we want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what it is, to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you do have a community, and you are never alone. So I am very excited to introduce you to my guest today. Her name is Kelly Tuttle, and she joined the ranks of the Head Injury Survivor Club. Hey, I'm a member too. Right on. Okay. All right. This will be good. And she joined the ranks of that club in 2015. The night another car pulled out in front of her as she was driving. And but it wasn't until 3 months later that she realized something was going on that was seriously wrong, that she had a traumatic brain injury. And we are going to have such a good discussion today because I am fully aware and all too familiar with those. As a neurology nurse practitioner, Callie has actually had a front row seat to see and help patients dealing with many of the same things she experiences. And experienced in her recovery. And so she wrote a book called After the Crash. And in that book, she answers the question, how can I thrive day to day when healing is a battle? Like when it's hard, healing from a head injury, a traumatic brain injury. So this is going to be awesome. You guys are you're going to love this. Kelly wants TBI patients to know that there is hope. And she got better. And so did I, and so can you. So this is going to be great. Let me pull her on grab her on the screen here. Hey, Kelly, thank you so much for being here. Welcome. This is awesome. I'm so excited because I keep forgetting how much we have in common. This is going to be a good show. Hello.
I'm excited to be here too, Jeff. This is going to be a really good discussion.
I am very excited about this, and there are so many people in my community with our nonprofit and with people that have been on the show previously and people that are going to be on the show in the future. I mean, there's just so many people that are going to probably see you and go, oh man, do I relate? So this is really cool. So first and foremost, can you just take us back to the moment of your accident and just kind of describe what happened as much as you remember and kind of that whole scene?
So I was driving home after work, and a driver pulled out in front of me at the last minute, and I ended up T-boning their car. And I just remember thinking, well, this is a pretty bad car accident, but I'm gonna just shake it off and get back into life. And declined the ambulance that had been called and so forth. And then actually the next day made it to work. A kind friend of mine drove me to work because my car was totaled. And at work, my colleagues noticed that I was having difficulty with my speech, and they knew, that I'd been in a car accident, and so they were really insistent that I see my primary care provider the next day, which I did, and I got diagnosed with a concussion and was taken off work for 2 weeks, and basically thought, well, I'll be better in 2 weeks. And
Sure.
after yeah,
Why
after
not?
two,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And after 2 weeks, I tried to get back into life. I was working full time. I had a 1-way hour commute, and I was trying to qualify for my third degree black belt in karate. So I was trying to continue to practice, and none of
Nice.
it was working out.
Yeah.
And eventually, at one point, I fell asleep at the wheel and ended up driving off the road, and I almost drove and hit a tree. And so, not being of a in a good spot in my mind, I thought, well, I'll just take a nap halfway between my drive from work t- to home,
Hmm.
and I'll be, safe and be able to do that. And so I continued. I was just trying to get back to life, get back to work, being a mom, so forth.
Yeah.
And I had lunch with a colleague who was at the time a neurology nurse practitioner, and she was curious just to see how I was recovering. So she asked how things were going. I told her, well, I still have headaches and horrific neck pain from the
Yeah.
whiplash from the car accident. And then I mentioned that I'd fallen asleep at the wheel, and she's like, "What?" And I was like, yeah, I fell asleep at the wheel." She's like, "That's not normal. That's not
No.
good." And she's like, you need to get a brain scan. You need to see a neurologist. You need to see PMR doctor." I'm like, "What's a PMR doctor?" Physical medicine and rehab physician. They it used to be called physiatrists. So I followed her recommendations and finally got a referral to the PMR doctor. And from that moment on, I was on the right road of recovery.
Nice. I love it. That's important. Get on the right road to recovery. Uh, I've been there myself. It's not fun to be on the wrong side. So yeah, you got to get the right person to diagnose you with the right thing. Um,
Correct.
by the way, I just want to throw this out there for everybody watching. If you have questions or maybe you can relate, you're like, hey, that sounds familiar. That happened to me. I didn't think there was anything wrong. Look, keep listening, keep watching. And if you have questions about brain injuries or anything related to that, um, please stay tuned, keep watching, and we're gonna put Kelly's contact info here and her. I think it's her website. We're gonna put a QR code to get to her website, and that will have a place to be able to reach out to her. If you have questions, you could put it in the chat. You could put a comment in the chat if you're watching on social media that you can do that. You don't have to be specific or anything. Just say, hey, I'm reaching out because I want to talk. I want some more information, and we'll definitely make sure Kelly can get in touch with you and one way or another. So because that's why we're here. We're here for you. That's why Kelly's here, because we want to educate you and give you some good information and some hope. So um all right. So it's true. Like sometimes people don't realize immediately, like after, like, believe me, I've had plenty. And sometimes you don't really know, you don't realize what you've done, right? You don't realize what's happened at first, right? You don't think falling asleep at the wheel is a big deal. I've done that too, by the way. I've
Oh
fallen asleep at
no.
the wheel and almost gotten a it could have been really bad. That was because I was stupid and didn't sleep enough the night before, though. That wasn't directly related to a head injury, but I understand the feeling of falling asleep at the wheel. It is not a good feeling. Um,
Mm-mm.
so all that to say, How did you finally gradually get to the realization that something was wrong from the accident and you needed to get some help?
Um, it was seeing that physical medicine and rehab doctor and, listening to her confirm that I had a concussion and that I
Yeah,
had most likely diffuse axion injury.
what's
And
that?
yeah, and that my fatigue was cognitive fatigue related to the
Oof.
brain injury,
Yeah,
and she just sent me to a wonderful speech therapist and a neurotherapist that kind of started me on the right path. And
nice.
from those therapists, I learned so much. And one of my speech therapists had recommended two books that I found were really helpful with my recovery. And that just what were the therapists and those books were really quite the springboard into the right way to get better. I'm really
Awesome.
grateful for those people and the book and the authors that wrote those books.
So you said speech therapist. Did the concussion that you have actually compromise your speech then? Is that
Y-
I mean,
Yes, yes. Actually, it did. I had difficulty with word finding, getting words out,
oh,
pronouncing them. I had difficulty with, I would blend words.
mhm,
So my speech
mm,
therapist helped me with that. But speech therapists also help with cognitive challenges, and that's
okay,
they are really amazing therapists, and you know, their title does not describe how all the amazing things they can do for you. And so my therapist helped me with my memory. I had some difficulty with short-term memory and focus and attention too. So they help with those cognitive, those higher executive functions that get
yeah.
affected with a concussion or a brain injury.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. No, and you're absolutely right. I saw somebody similar to that, and I've seen a neurologist for a while, and I've also got a chiropractic neurologist, which is pretty unique. And you're right. Like they become almost your primary care people. It's like they have this rolodex of knowledge that's just phenomenal. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So what just to encapsulate this, I mean, what were some of the I mean, you said your speech, right? Did you ever have problems with like balance or walking or anything? Was that part of the therapy too? You had to relearn some of that?
Yes, yes, I had some difficulty with balance, and
Mm,
I did have dizziness, and it my dizziness was related to difficulty with visual tracking with my eyes, and also I had disequilibrium. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't say it today.
equal
Disequilibrium,
Oh, wow.
which is you don't have a really good connection with your feet to your brain, and that could have been related to the neck injury. And when you strain or tear muscles, you
Sure.
destroy these things called proprioception proprioception receptors. I hope I said that right.
I think that
And
sounds
they're
right. Yeah.
and they tell you like where your head is in the world, the angle, and where your feet are and your legs, your hips, your shoulders, and your neck. So if those are
Okay.
damaged, then you're going to have a sense of dizziness or feeling off balance.
It's almost like I think so to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing you have prism in the lenses in those glasses you're wearing.
Yeah, it's more of a mild prism. I got diagnosed with binocular visual dysfunction,
Wow.
and I saw a behavioral optometrist for that. And
Behavioral optometrist. That's one I've never heard before. I've
I
seen an I've
know.
seen a neuro-ophthalmologist before, but I've never heard of a that's okay, okay. See, we're learning new things all the time. All right, go ahead.
Eh, So yeah,
Wow.
I was able to see a specialist. Actually, I had to go to Michigan to see these
Oh my gosh.
behavioral optometrists because there's very few of them in the United States.
Mhm.
And so it's binocular vision dysfunction, so BVD. You can Google that. And put that in the search of Google, and various practices will pop up
Nice.
that you can find. And they look at how well your eyes work together uh, to process the information that you're seeing in the world back to the brain. And my vision was off. So, in order
Yeah.
to correct it, I was tilting my head to the right,
Hmm.
and that was making my neck pain worse and giving me headaches. It also um, causes you to have light sensitivity. In some patients, they'll experience anxiety, symptoms of anxiety.
Uh-huh.
You'll have difficulty with reading. You'll have a lot of fatigue with trying to work on computers and
Okay.
um, read, and also with reading and processing the information that you're trying to read and absorb and memorize.
Wow. Okay. You totally nailed it. You hit the nail right on the head. I'm almost speechless because I need to, what was the name of that person again? Behavioral, what was it?
Behavioral optometrists.
Behavioral optometrist. That's who addresses all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Exactly.
That soon as we get done with this show, that's what I'm going to go look up, because everything this doesn't happen very often. I swear, I don't usually do this. This is not a regular thing, but everything you just said is stuff that I have experienced in the last several years that and I've gone to the neuro optometrist, and I've gone to, all the uh, uh, chiropractic neurologist and all kinds of stuff. I've never had some of that specific stuff that you were talking about. It's never been addressed. And so I still experience a lot of that. And so thank you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. All right. See, we're learning stuff all the time. This is great. Um, wow.
Yeah. And
That's
and
blowing
and
me
so
away.
my glasses have been a serious game changer.
Yeah.
Because now I tolerate a lot more light than I did before. I'm
Oh yeah.
able to walk straighter.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and because of all that, being able to walk straight or not focus so much with my footsteps and
Mhm.
so forth. I used to have to watch my feet when I walked, and now I can actually look up
Yeah.
some of the time, not 100%. Um, but the change in the prescription of my eyeglasses really allowed me to use my limited brain energy to
Mhm.
work longer, read longer, stay up longer. Um, it made a huge impact on my recovery.
Reading has always been a challenge for me. I had a couple surgeries when I was a kid because of a lazy eye I had, because of several brain surgeries I had when I was a kid, and I still continue to have now. But reading has never been easy. And so that is actually kind of hope, gives me a little hope, because these glasses are great. Um, but I have a feeling I need to go see somebody like more like what you saw, and maybe that would help even more, because reading is tough. I do not like reading. I love
Yeah.
Audible, but I hate reading.
Yeah, I love
So,
Audible too.
yeah.
And that was a big reason why I wanted my book to be on Audible. It's
Yes.
available on Audible and iTunes because after my brain injury, I went from being able to read hours on end to only tolerating 5 to 10 minutes at a time. And then even
Yep.
after I read, it was difficult for me to remember what I read.
Right?
So it took a long journey to get back to being able to enjoy reading again.
Mm. Man, you and I are gonna have more conversations after this show, I think. I tell you what, because we
I would
got
love that.
we got a lot to talk about, because I need to pick your brain on some stuff, and I definitely I have a couple ideas of something else that you might want to try that might make things even better, but I definitely want to pick your brain on a couple things, because man, I have been missing the mark on some of this, and I think some of the things you've done would probably improve, my life day to day as well. So this is great. Man, I'm all excited now. This is great. So all right, here's what we're gonna do. We are at a really good spot to take a break. So we're gonna go take a break. We're gonna show a couple commercials from some pretty awesome sponsors we have, and as soon as we come back from that, we are going to pick up where we left off, and we are going to talk more about um, I'd love to hear some techniques maybe for like improving TBI symptoms, and of course we're going to talk about your book. We're going to show you all her book. We're going to put a picture of it up so you know what you're looking for. We're going to put a link on the screen with a QR code so you have no excuse. You're going to have to go right to the website and learn all about Kelly and all about her book. So um all right, everybody, don't go anywhere. We will be right back in a couple of minutes. We'll see you soon.
Does your to-do list have you feeling stressed? Does your list include tasks like responding to email and phone calls, collecting forms and paperwork, and sending quotes and invoices? Have you been neglecting posting updates to your social media accounts, email newsletters, or content on your website? Maybe you need help to get digitally organized. I'm Selena, one of the owners at Office Mercenary, and we're a US-based virtual assistant agency. We can take care of all of these tasks and more so you can get back to focusing on the things you love about your business. Our team is happy to work with you and your individual needs. So schedule a call with us, bring your to-do list, and stop doing the tedious tasks.
In a world where office workers typically receive 130 daily emails and have an 8-second attention span, CoreCentrica, with her 4 decades of international marketing experience, has partnered with the Learning Code Institute and their 30 years of neuroscientific research. Together, we are crafting unique messaging strategies that resonate, connect, and ultimately convert our target audiences. CoreCentrica, where award-winning creativity and disruptive neuroscience come together. Scan this code now, or call and click, and let us show you how CoreCentrica's partnership with the Learning Code Institute is influencing how businesses connect with their audience, foster engagement, and achieve conversions.
Hi, I'm Sarah Stockham, and I'm host of Simply Sarah. Join me Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific on the Achieve TV network for the best energetic tools to elevate your amazing life right here on E360 TV.
Right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, Kelly. We're so excited to keep this conversation going. I'm excited. This is good stuff. Okay. So in the first segment, we were talking about basically how everything just kind of hit the fan after you had got T-boned. Not cool, by the way. I have been in a lot of car wrecks in my time. Most of them were my fault. Some of them were not. So I experienced some of I understand. I totally I get what you've gone through with in some degree. And so we've talked about all the stuff that happened afterwards and a lot of the craziness. Now I kind of want to talk about let's talk about healing and how you've kind of come around that curve, you know. Can you tell us some of the stuff that you've done to help with your recovery and some of the positive results that have come from some of that.
One of the things, well, there's two things. Journaling really
Right.
helped with my recovery. Getting out of my head. As a traumatic brain injury survivor, you tend to spend a lot of time in your head with
Yeah.
some, negative thoughts and ruminating over what was and what's not now. And so journaling, my recovery was really, really helpful. It helped me identify my symptoms. And then eventually, over time, I was able to identify the triggers to my symptoms
Mm.
and then put together a bag of tools and strategies to help limit my exposure to those triggers or limit their effects on my brain.
Nice.
Uh, you know, for me, the triggers were very taxing on my limited brain energy. So it was really important for me to protect my energy battery that I started off with at the beginning of the day so that it would last till the end of the day. So journaling was really great. Um, After my brain injury, I didn't know myself anymore. I was lost. I
Yeah.
was not the same person I had been before that car accident. A lot of my focus and passions had changed. And so it was really hard to get to know the new me. And the journaling definitely helped with that process over
Hmm.
time, for sure.
Yeah.
And then mindfulness, practicing mindfulness and mindful thinking, again, a healing tool to get you out of your head and grounded into your present moment. And in doing so, you're away from those negative thoughts. You're not fueling them in your head so that they can continue to create a bigger spiral, but you're putting them aside so that they can slowly diminish over time as you heal and ground yourself in the present. Stop worrying about the future uh, and stop being sad or regretful about the past,
Yeah.
but being grateful for what you have in that moment. And those were two things that really helped me with my recovery.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think the biggest thing, I mean, I don't know if it's because of brain injuries or if it's because of other things, but yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe it is a brain injury thing where you replay, right? You replay the thing over and over and over, and you kind of you're imagining the better result, right? It's like, well, this is what happened, but like you replay it in your mind, hoping for a new result. It's just it never gets there, you know. So yeah, I could see. Yeah, journaling. I agree. Journaling is huge. Is that part of your? Let's talk about your book for a second. Is that part of your book? Is that do you have? Is there a? Is that a lot of it? Is there journaling space in there? Or
No, there's not journaling space, but there is a chapter on the importance of journaling and how to get started
ah,
on your journaling and things that you can write in your journal. Like you can write your fears, you
yeah,
know, and sometimes when you write your worries and fears down on a piece of paper, you can see they're not as big and scary as they seem to have been inside your mind. And so that's really helpful. And then in your journal, you can put down thoughts that you're maybe not confident to know if you have the right perception. And so
mm,
you can take those thoughts to your psychologist, your counselor, a trusted friend or family member. And then if you have any symptoms that you're not that you are having difficulty coping with, writing those down, then taking your journal to your specialist visits and being able to look down and ask about those symptoms and report them. So the journal it really is a key component to your healing.
yeah. Well, and the other thing is when you write it down, especially if it's a physical journal. I know a lot of people like to use their their phones and use like maybe the notes app or something or some kind of journaling app, which is
Uh-huh.
great. Even if it doesn't require wi-fi, it's still not as good as just a paper and pen journal, because this your phone can run out of battery, your app can crash, and then maybe you lose it all, god forbid. But
Yeah.
when you're writing it down in a journal, you never lose it. So that's I love that idea.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
when you write in a journal too, I really discourage if you're early into your recovery after a brain injury, not to use devices because you really need to save your energy for
yeah,
work. You know, all of us at work use some type of device. It could, you know, a computer or a laptop. So I really discourage that early in your recovery, your personal usage of these devices so that you have the energy to do what you need to do at work or school. And then the other thing is that there's research that supports the fact that when you're actually writing on paper, that helps heal the brain and encourage brain plasticity, and that is for the brain to create different connections that might have been lost during your injury. So it's really
Okay.
important to do that physical um, act of writing in the journal.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's all about creating new neural pathways, right? When after
Hmm.
you're, because with a concussion or with a brain injury or however it came to be, it can, maybe it damaged that last one. Maybe that part of the brain isn't able to function like it used to. So you have to form that new neural pathway. And you're right, journaling like paper to pen is a really good way to do it. And it's, you know what? That's actually, in my experience, that is less tiring than looking at something electronic. Anyway, I could write in a
Right.
journal for a lot longer, paper to pen or pen to paper than I could, typing on a computer, trying to type into a phone. Good Lord. So,
Yeah,
um,
and the reason for that is that our devices emit blue light.
uh-huh.
And and blue light has been shown to interfere with sleep patterns and so forth because it lowers your natural melatonin in your brain.
Yep.
But people who have brain injuries are more sensitive to that light, and it just drains your energy. And so yeah, you're right. It's better to do to go old school and just work with paper and pen.
Yeah.
Or like in when I talk about my in my book, instead of reading or analyzing information off your computer at work or your laptop at school, if possible, print it off on
Yeah.
eye-friendly paper, then read it off the paper rather than
Yes.
on the screen, and you could save some of that brain energy and continue to work and study a little bit longer.
Man, that resonates so much with me. Yeah, I go through ungodly amounts of paper. I recycle it all, but oh man. In fact, in my office area here, I've got this giant bag that I put all that, and then we take it to a recycling center every couple of months and recycle it. I mean, I don't go crazy. Don't worry. I'm not going through like a ream of paper a month or anything, but yeah, I find that is very true. I'll print, when I get long emails, even if I get an email that's too, you know, a little longer than I want to sit in front of the computer, I'll just print it and I
Yeah,
can
I
read it.
still do
It's
that
so much
too.
easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yep. So let's talk about your book for a second, because by the way, awesome cover. Did you
Oh,
design
thank
that or
you.
did somebody else?
The publishing company that I work with helped me design that.
Who was the
I,
publisher?
um, I worked. It's a self-publishing
Oh, nice.
company called Book Launchers,
Yes.
and they're
Okay.
fantastic. If you ever want to write a book, they can help you do it.
Awesome. I love it. Whoever you worked with to come up with that is a phenomenal book cover. I love the graphic on there. So
Thank
that's really
you.
very telling. So tell us about the book. What is it? It's mostly about your story, right?
No, I didn't, as we have talked about how hard it is to read, I really wanted to limit my story. I just wanted to get straight to the point of supporting someone returning to work, and school, and life. And so my writing coaches really did have to encourage me to include my story. So there is some of my story in there, but in the book, I talk about symptoms and the specialists that can help you with them. I talk about a ton of strategies and tools that I used that worked for me at work to
Mhm.
continue working. And then I talk about the importance of sleep, exercise, nutrition, and mindfulness. And then at
Mm.
the end, I talk about, when you should consult with a lawyer, the ADA, Family Medical Leave Act,
Okay.
asking how to ask for accommodations at school and work. And then at the end, I talk about um, if you get to a point in your recovery where you think that your limitations are going to live with you a lot longer than you wanted to, um, then it's time to let go of your old self and embrace your new self and your new brain.
Yeah. Yeah. That, you know what? It's like a mourning process,
It is.
It's,
There's a
it is.
huge grieving process.
Because grieving. That's the word I was looking for. See, grieving process. You're mourning your former self almost. When you realize everything that it impacted,
Yes.
you have to go through that. That's the healthy thing to do. Go through that mourning process and, know that by the way, know that you've survived 100% of those hard days you've seen so far up to now. Right. So be encouraging with yourself and know that, you can press on, but I mean, don't stay in the past mourning, but that's important in order to move forward, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
So,
and when I talk about going through the grieving process, it doesn't have to ever end. It can be a continual cyclic thing that you take on throughout your life. I don't mean when I say let go of the old person, I don't mean get over it.
no.
I mean let them let it go, but keep that with you because that old person's still the foundation of you.
Mhm.
But you really need to get to know the new you and embrace that new you and grow to like and appreciate your new self.
100%. Exactly. Because that old person is still with you. Still have that person is still you. Yeah. But, yeah, there's so much new, and you know what? Sometimes there's new stuff that happens that's unexpected, that's bad, but sometimes there's stuff that's unexpected that's good,
Yeah.
that can come out of that, like you if that hadn't happened, you would never have written the book, right?
I
You never, right?
no.
So, I mean, yes, it's kind of a sad thing to look back and look what I lost, but man, you never would have I mean, I would never have met you. We
Yeah.
wouldn't be doing this. You wouldn't have had the book. So, I mean, there are a lot of things that can be good that come out of it that you don't even expect, you know? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Like
So,
before, the old person was the Energizer Bunny. Just go, 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 go. Traveling, seeing friends, family, volunteering,
yeah.
um, just busy, 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 going from goal to goal to goal.
Mhm.
And then after my brain injury, then I turned into a sloth. And
Hey,
and there's nothing wrong with sloths.
no.
They take a more simple approach to life. They're in the moment. I'm more appreciative and grateful of my family and friends and my home and just um, really grateful being surrounded by supportive people in my life. And um, I have a lot more patience and
Yeah.
understanding and empathy for my patients, people I interact with, and myself. Because before I
Mhm.
didn't have much patience for myself.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I used to get mad at myself if I fell asleep and took a nap.
Oh my gosh.
I would wake up and I'd be angry. I'd be like,
Oh
"Ugh, I
no.
can't believe I wasted all that time," you know. But you're absolutely right. After several brain surgeries and especially the last couple that really made me slow down and kind of take inventory. It's a good thing. Don't ever begrudge a nap, okay? Nobody should
Yes.
ever be mad because they took a nap.
Yeah,
Um,
or that you sleep 7 to 9 hours at night.
right?
There is a culture in the U.S. that is not supportive of getting quality sleep. If you sleep, it's like I have patients who are embarrassed who say they get 6 hours of sleep. And I'm like, no, you're supposed to be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And then you have to go into the discussion of how important that's how important sleep is, and that's an actual brain function
Uh,
that we all have to do every
yeah,
24 hours.
yeah. I mean, sleep is I've learned this, that sleep is the only time sleep your brain. Well, let me say it this way: every other system in your body can renew itself and cleanse itself and clean out toxins and keep itself going while you're awake. The brain is the only organ in the body that cannot do that unless you are getting quality sleep. And that's
Yes.
the only time your brain can like say, okay, thank God, now I can get to work and you know clearing out stuff that's not supposed to be there. So if you don't get enough good sleep, you're not doing your brain any favors, by the way.
No.
So yeah. So well, I'll tell you what, we we're gonna take one more break, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about your book maybe a little bit more, and maybe some uh some awesome stories, because I'm sure you've got some. And then we're gonna talk about my favorite subject, which is hope. And so,
Mm.
because that's, if you don't have, if you're not in a hopeful state, you're dead in the water already. I'm telling you,
Yes.
you got to have hope. So, all right, here we go. Everybody, stick around. We will see you in just a couple minutes.
Are you a change agent? You're going to love the Superpowers for Good show. I'm Devin Thorpe. Every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 11 Eastern, I host an inspiring changemaker on Achieve TV. Join us right here on E360 TV.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I am going to move my chair up a little bit. I am so excited that we have been able to have this conversation. And I actually, during the commercial break, I went and grabbed a couple things that I wanted to show you, because you were talking about something you said made me want to go grab these. And I just wanted to, we've got this one here. We've got, I don't know what his name is, but here's one of our sloths that hang out at our house.
Oh.
And then here's our other one. This one's
Oh.
heavy. This one's heavy. It's got, I don't know, some kind of sand or something, and you put it and you heat it up, and then you just it's pretty cool.
Nice.
So yeah, so sloths, I think we had a calendar one year, like one of those wall calendars. So I'm with you. I don't think of them as slow. I think of them as deliberate. you know they
Yeah.
they don't move impulsively. It's like they just kind of, you know they are intentional.
Very
And
intentional.
I
Yes.
yeah, it's pretty cool. So anyway, I couldn't believe you said sloth because I was like, oh my gosh, that's so our bag around here. So anyway, all right. So here's my question. I have a couple questions that I like to ask people. Um, one main one, um, and that is with everything that you've been through. We've heard so much of your story, and thank you for being so open and just with all the things that you've accomplished and gone through, and on the hard days because there's still hard days, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
how do you find hope?
Wow. I just remember you know what, when we talked about journaling,
Yeah.
the amazing thing about your journal is that it allows you to look back to see how far you've come. And so on those days that I'm really sad, I will go back at those journals and see how far I've come and also have
Yeah.
a good laugh too at what I wrote.
Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes. What were
So,
you thinking, right?
I
Sometimes.
know. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just tell myself, with me, every passing year, I just feel more, I feel an incremental movement towards getting better and stronger. And so I think about that, and if I have to, I look back at my journal, and then I my friends and family give me a lot of hope. They're so supportive, and
Mhm.
really, I'm so lucky to have such a great cheerleading team behind me.
Right. Yeah. That's huge. And it's so important. And I'm so glad you have that because not everybody does.
No,
So
no.
not everybody has that support network. I mean, we live in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and we have, good Lord, two Air Force bases, an Army base, Cheyenne Mountain Space Force, the Air Force Academy. We've got so much military here, and I love it. I love that. The Air Force Academy graduation. We have like Blue Angels flying over our heads all the time. It's awesome. But what that does is that that community is usually way, way, way far away from their family, right?
Yeah,
You don't always get to go to the base that's next door to your parents or next door to, you know, and so a lot of those people are kind of alone. They get here and they don't know anybody, and so it's hard, and so they have to develop that network of people and a network of helpers and people that can do things with them and for them, and so to have that is huge. So yeah, and maybe that's what you is that. I mean, if you don't have that, reach out to us, reach out to Kelly, reach out to me. That's what we're here for. You know that
yeah.
we're
We don't want people to think they're alone
oh, exactly,
going through
exactly.
this.
So yeah, I mean, use that QR code right there, man. Use it. It's there so you can get in touch with Kelly. So okay, cool. Well, so all right. I have a question also with what kind of I mean, everybody wants to hear success stories, right? So have you I mean, I'm sure you've got some. What's like one of your favorite stories of like this is when something went really, really right, you know?
Within my recovery, or just I
Sure.
mean,
I mean, I know you yeah. Yeah, you I mean with
the the
yeah,
the thing that makes my heart sing, um, that occurred on my road to recovery,
yeah.
was one, becoming a neurology nurse practitioner. Before my car accident, I had worked in cardiology as a nurse practitioner. I had done that for 20 years.
Wow.
And so being able to learn, educate myself, beg for a training position in a neurology department, and then train under the neurologist and learn what it takes to be a nurse practitioner working in neurology. That was pretty awesome and exciting. And I think that it would really helped with my recovery. Earlier
Yeah.
we were talking about brain plasticity. So learning new things, whether it's just changing up the restaurant you normally go to or changing careers, both those
Right.
things are helpful for your brain's healing. And then the other thing is my book. I didn't know how to write a book when I started. The learning curve was huge, but I took baby steps to work towards it and accomplishing it. And I've learned so much about Microsoft and document sharing, things I didn't know before. I
Yeah.
learned about marketing, making videos and content. Uh, I started a YouTube channel and I have
Nice.
TikToks and Instagram and Facebook where I post videos regarding this content that you and I are talking about.
Nice.
And
That's
that's all
awesome.
been it's been a learning curve, and I think it's really been good for my brain and my healing.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, yeah. I mean, going through new things can be stressful, but man, is it cool when you get to the other side and it sticks and you get it, it's like it's a big deal. So yeah,
Yeah,
learning new stuff is not my favorite thing either, but it is healthy for the brain. So
yeah. And and
yeah,
and and just to kind of put this in perspective for your audience,
yeah,
I did not start writing my book until after 5 years after my accident. So it's a lot of healing that I went through
yeah,
before I was able to do that. And then I didn't change my job or my career until after 2 years after my brain injury. So this wasn't stuff that I did within the first 2 to 5 years. So this is way deep into my recovery.
yeah,
So if you're early in your recovery, you need to be kind and patient to yourself. But know that there's hope that things will get better. And
yeah.
it's all about the baby steps and just one foot in front of the other. And if you have a bad day, then just pamper yourself on the couch with a cup of tea and a good book.
There you go. And it you know, they don't bad days don't last forever,
Mm-mm.
it's, you gotta have a good you gotta have a good day. Well, and you can find good parts of every day, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, just be nice. Be kind to yourself. I agree. Oh man.
Yeah, and
Well,
bad
yeah,
days help you learn to get to know your brain better too, because there's a reason why you had the bad day. You
right.
pushed yourself too hard. You did too much.
True.
And so you can reflect on that while you're resting and see what might have triggered your regression in your
Yeah.
recovery, and then try to take steps and use strategies to avoid overdoing it again. As you know,
Yep.
Jeff, it's like in your recovery, you're like always pushing to get better and stronger, but you have to find that balance between pushing
Yes.
and encouraging growth or pushing too hard and then burning your candle out.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, 4 brain surgeries in the last 9 years. I've done a couple of them right, and I've done a couple of them wrong, and you can't
Yeah.
rush it. So,
Yeah, you
it's
can't
true.
rush it.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I tell you what, I hate to say it because I could go for another hour with you. This has been fantastic, but we are already out of time. An hour has gone back just flown by like that. So we have about a minute left. So is there any last thought that you'd like to leave our audience with in the last 30 to 60 seconds?
Yes, if you're seeking to find out reasonable work accommodations, go to Job Accommodations uh, Network. You can Google it, and that will take you to a website that has a list of reasonable accommodations to ask for work and school
Nice.
for people with brain injuries.
Love it. That is awesome. That's huge because that's a lot of people don't know they don't know what they don't know. So they don't even
Yeah.
know to ask. And if they know to ask, they don't know what to ask for. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, everybody go check it out. Go check out that website. And please, I'm gonna take this QR code down. So if you didn't get to scan it, you're gonna have to go back and watch it on the replay and scan it. There it goes. All right. Thank you, Kelly, for being here. Thank you so much for your time and for your story and for being here. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me so I can speak to your audience and share, some of the stuff I've gone through. I hope it helps.
100%. It's helped me. I can't imagine that there's not people out there going, oh man, I'm so glad I'm watching this. This is great. So I bet you're going to get some people reaching out. I can't wait to hear how it goes. So thank you so much. And I will talk to you again soon. All right.
Thank you, Jeff. Bye.
Okay, everybody. This is so cool. I learned so much, and you can live with one of these brain injuries for decades and you still learn new stuff. So this is super cool. I love it. Now, next show is going to be Friday, March 22nd. So come back on that day and check out the next amazing guest I'm going to have for you. And if you have a favorite show, if you have a show that you've watched multiple times, you're like, oh, I can't get enough of this one. By the way, thank you for watching. For all of you that are, and if you have a favorite, share it out. If it's your favorite, it's probably somebody else's too, or if it's not yet, it will be. So I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you on the next show. Have a great day.